What's going on, guys? It's Sly here, and thanks for checking out another Sly Nation vid. With the media embargo over with, the press is able to start cranking out article after article of whatever they were allowed to play. And today, at the end of February, we finally get our 15 minutes of gameplay. Well, okay, 17 minutes of gameplay. IGN released this video earlier today featuring PB's loyalty mission. Now, it doesn't show the ending, but there are some spoilers in this video, so progress at your own discretion. Now, most of it is just lame combat and not on the fault of the game, but of the player. You can tell this guy's brand new at the game and is having a little bit of trouble maintaining accuracy and skill uses, which is no big deal, we all go through it, but it definitely slows down combat a little more than the other trailers. So I wanted to take you all on a tour of some of the things that you can find within this video, and also a few new tidbits of information that we have yet to see. So first off, shout out to IGN for being able to play this new game and upload it for all of us to see. You can also find the link to the original video, which I always recommend you watch, in the description box below. Alright guys, so let's jump in and do this. Now it starts off aboard the Tempest, where Pellisaria, aka PB, asks Ryder and Drac to come talk to her in her bunk, which as we all know by now is an escape capsule. She wants to get down to the planet's surface, but Callow can't find a place to land. So she locks everyone in and ejects the pod. Now the reason why this isn't that big of a spoiler is because we've seen parts of this mission all over the place throughout the past month or so. PB's loyalty mission was used as sort of a backdrop for a lot of different trailers, showcasing skills in combat, so some of these scenes will look very familiar. Now the one thing you can notice right off the bat is that this is not procedurally generated. The crevasses, cover, the different options to sneak around or to face enemy head on, along with the immense amount of detail, this is definitely a hand-built area. And also, one of the reasons why I necessarily don't mind linear path missions. In open worlds, while they look beautiful at times, the rock repeats patterns over and over again. You'll see the same fencing, roads, houses, trees. All of it's the same, just rearranged differently. And having these types of missions handmade break that, and it gives it a certain depth that open world games sometimes lack. Like seeing lava ooze down the side with steam rolling out of it, to rock formations that are completely unique, hidden pathways within them. All of this so far, I am definitely liking what I'm seeing. So let's get to a few things that I noticed. First, it seems that you are able to scan tons of different material in Andromeda. While they were looking for a hidden terminal, random rocks would highlight and were set to scan, but he instead passed it by. So if you can scan a random rock on the side of a path, imagine what else you can try and scan. Also, notice at the top of the screen, you can see that your waypoint signals you to go to a certain area, and if it's hidden, once you get close, it will start to blink and faintly beep, indicating that somewhere around you is a hidden scannable object. So it's not going to be just a, point and hope for the best kind of situation. It pings when you start to get closer. Kind of like the hijacking you did for Liara on Ilium. Not quite that pronounced, but pretty similar. So as we move along here and the gate finally opens, we come to what at first I thought was some kind of new Andromeda cave-dwelling species, but instead it's a docile remnant. As Sam checks it out, it says that it's docile and its neural pathways are blank. Now what's cool about this is that Ryder talks about someone called Paks. I believe the name is. She goes on to say that it reminds her of Paks when she stripped out its remnant protocols.
Interesting. That observer is in a persistent idle state. Its neural pathways are blank.
It's like Paks when I stripped out its remnant protocols. It has no programming.
So it sounds like we have a remnant ally, perhaps on the ship, maybe Nexus, maybe somewhere else. Now as you will see here soon, the remnant are reprogrammable machines. So this does seem to point to some kind of remnant friend within the game, which would be pretty awesome. Now what Paks really is, or who he really is an unknown at this point, but I can't wait to find out. So moving along here, Sams tells us that there are unprogrammed remnants all around the inside of this cave system, and that we can program them to help us, which turns out the mission really hinges on. So that further lends to the theory that Paks is a reprogrammed remnant ally. Now as we get a little deeper into the mission, a new character pops up called Kalinda, an Asari that seems to be PB's rival.
Uh-oh. I know that shuttle.
Pellisaria, are you tracking that sweet signal too?
Ugh, Kalinda. Back off. It's mine. Let's hurry. We have to get to the signal source before Kalinda.
From the sound of it, it looks like Kalinda is a headache throughout the game, and it finally comes to a head here at PB's loyalty mission. Now that's a guess, of course, but from the way PB speaks to her and how Kalinda calls her Pellisaria, it shows that they do have a history together. We'll talk about that a little further in the video. So moving along here, we come to the first combat scene, and like I said earlier, it is a little slow, but it does showcase some of the weapons. The Cyclone Assault Rifle, the Falcon, a weapon called the Ishiray Sniper Rifle, and something called the Soned Auto Rifle. Soned, S-O-N-E-D. Not really sure how to say that. I think it's Soned. Anyway, they're all a bit strange in my opinion, guys. And maybe I'll change my mind when I get to finally use them, but they seem a bit underwhelming. The only thing that's decent is the Cyclone Assault Rifle, which you see right here. But before we get into that, I have a concern about this. Destin, the guy who's from IGN and who is playing and narrating this video, tells that this is a mission he is undertaking after the completion of the main campaign. Also, as you guys can see from this article here, it says that the majority of side missions can be played after the critical path is complete. But the reason why it concerns me is this right here. Look at his level. Level 28, and hardly any of his skills are filled up. And it's the same story with all of his other skills. So the main mission is over without really any of the skills being filled up and within the level of the mid-20s? I mean, hopefully he was given a dev build and skipped right to this mission. But I don't think so, man. If you look at the Nexus level, he's been playing a little bit. I don't know, guys. I'm hoping that this is not the case because Mass Effect has always been about a long, involved story. And if you can complete the story within just, 20 levels when they used to be, was it 60 sometimes? That's not really what I was hoping this game would be. Like I said, I don't know that for sure. It is a dev build. It's all pre-release, so it could just be something that they bumped up just to give him some points. But we'll have to wait and see. So moving along here, a few cool things to take away from this scene are that you are able to use skills while aiming down your sights that zoom, as you can see here. Overload is used on this observer while the sniper rifle is zoomed in. Also, when Ryder switches to the engineer profile, he gains a little buddy. You can see it hovering over her shoulder, and it remains here throughout the mission. Now at first I thought it might have been Sam, but upon further investigation, I noticed this at the bottom of the engineer profile, and it says Tech Construct Damage. So this profile does indeed unlock a little buddy that helps you fight. Your own little Chatika, I guess you can call him. However, this construct does not have range capabilities. It seems to only emit a pulse when enemies get close, at least within the first few levels of the engineer profile. Now that may change when you rank up. Now, out of all of the weapons that are used here, like I said earlier, the coolest one I seen was the Cyclone Assault Rifle. The rest were kind of odd. Here you can see it in action again, and it has a brief charge-up stage before it fires. So there is a delay, but it does do some work. The other ones, they just seem a little underwhelming. They don't really pack the punch. Next, here is the Falcon in action. It looks more of a grenade launcher than an assault rifle. It takes down the first remnant fairly easily, but I think our teammates were doing most of the damage. As you can see as he shoots this other remnant, it's not that powerful despite its explosive rounds. Now whether or not it's augmented to be this way is unknown, but its arcing projectiles are kind of hard to aim, as you can see Destin struggling with it right here. And the last thing I'll show you here is Incinerate. It almost looks like missiles now instead of a slow-moving hologram that Morden used to use. It seems to hit its target no matter where you aim it. As long as the enemy is highlighted, it will make it there. So that's good news. You can hit enemies behind cover, around corners, and other tight spaces simply by aiming slightly left or right or above it, and it'll just arc downwards. So that's also something good to see. So as we progress through the rest of the mission, Kalinda is on your ass on the ledge above you the entire time. Every gate you open, opens hers as well. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but ammo crates are no longer a hold and grab action. You simply walk over it and it automatically picks up what you need, depending on the symbol above the boxes. That will determine what you can pick up. Ammo crates have all types of ammo, as well as power cells, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a few ammo crates that have consumables in there as well, like Disrupt and Incendiary. Now, Disrupt, Incendiary, and Cryo Ammo are the only ammo mods coming with Andromeda. They are no longer a skill to be learned, instead they are consumables. Alright, so moving along in this area, we see something that I'm willing to bet is a sneak peek of multiplayer. Sam has to hack a console, and you have to remain in contact while it hacks. You can see the progress bar on the top right, and I'm willing to bet that this is a mirror image of multiplayer. Now, of course, this is speculation, I don't know that for sure, but if multiplayer strongly resembles ME3, then it will take a page out of the same playbook and use the same in-game actions within multiplayer as well. Anyways, a little further into the mission, Kalinda and PB have another small conversation, and it turns out Kalinda found PB by placing a bug within Paks. which is the remnant we talked about earlier. So if she tracked it to this planet, then that means whatever or whoever Pak is indeed on the Tempest. I'm excited to find out more about this Pak character.
Talisaria, the high road is much more direct.
How the hell did you find us here, Kalinda?
Guess you didn't notice the little transmitter I hid in Pak. So sloppy. Ta!
Ugh!
So that just deepens the mystery. I'm definitely excited to find out who or what this Pak character really is. Anyways, this next area is where we have to reprogram another remnant to help us open a path to another cave system. And this is where things might get familiar. We see a few larger remnant machines, and this time one armored beast called the Destroyer. Also the Nullifier, which was featured on a gameplay trailer a month or so ago. Now, one of the cool things about this part of the mission is that we get to see a small glimpse of two reworked skills, the Assault Turret and the Cloak. Now, like other skills such as Singularity, you can disable it early by pressing the bumper that also triggers it. Doing this will blow up the turret, causing an area of effect damage, or it will simply just disengage it. You can see here that the turret has 400 health, which is pretty awesome considering Ryder only has 600 and something. 20 damage per shot. Singularity recharge time of 24, which I'm not quite sure why it would recharge Singularity, but also it has an AoE effect of 340 damage. Rank 2 gets you 30% turret health. Rank 3, extra 15% damage, and then when it branches at rank 4, he chooses 50% turret health instead of extra recharge speed, but we can also see that rank 5 has a damage increase, something called Omnilink with a medical cross on it, so maybe this helps you heal, or maybe it increases your shields when a turret is active, and then finally rank 6 gives it cryo ammo, or it becomes a flamethrower, both of which have great perks to use in many different ways. As for Tactical Cloak, at rank 1 it lasts 6 seconds, recharges in 15, which is pretty fast, buffs your weapons by 50% while cloaked as well as your powers, and you receive a 60% damage bonus to your melee. Those are some pretty strong numbers, guys. Now, rank 2 is 15% recharge speed, rank 3 gives you an extra 25% duration, and then at the split at rank 4, you can have 30% recharge speed or a damage bonus. Rank 5 is extra duration or increased agility, and rank 6 is kind of a bit of a mystery here. We have Escape Artist or Combat Cloak. Now I'm just assuming here that 6A, which is the top rank, would be a lengthy amount of invisibility, but a debuff to your extra damage while cloaked. And 6B, which is the bottom, looks to be the opposite, maybe extra damage to your weapon, skills, and melee at the cost of a long invisibility length. Of course, that is just a guess, but it seems like that would fit pretty well. Now the cloak looks to be pretty OP, guys. I mean, it saves Ryder's ass many times in this playthrough, and going completely invis for a lengthy amount of time almost guarantees that you won't die. Well, of course, unless you just used it. Add to the fact that you're twice as powerful while cloaked, and this will be a formidable skill. And next up, something kind of funny. First, the assault turret gets shot into the lava, and then soon after that, Ryder falls into the lava. But it has minimal damage. So I'm guessing Andromeda lava is like weak BS compared to Earth and Milky Way lava? Pretty sure it destroyed the Mako the instant it touched lava. So I guess that's a little too forgiving. Of course, my opinion. But one thing this mission does show well is how Drac is the ultimate badass and a total close quarter master. Now even to these huge machines like the Nullifier, he just charges right in and goes to town, taking damage like it tickles. Did I mention Krogans are awesome? Now he does this a little later on as well, and one thing I wanted to point out is that this is still a pre-release build. A day 1 patch is confirmed, so we have a few things that might seem off in this mission, such as stumbling over a few small obstacles and this turret simply disappearing when it gets thrown, but we were warned of a few pre-release glitches last Thursday. So if this is all we have to worry about, then I am absolutely fine with that. And as we move along, here's part 2 of where Drac goes ham, and look at this dude use his jetpack and then just destroy the enemy. I'm pretty sure Drac is my early on favorite. Alright guys, well as we near the end of the video, we meet another new character, Kranit. Now this Krogan outlaw is a character you're going to see throughout the game, and apparently your first few encounters are pretty tough, but it doesn't look like much of a problem here. And also, revives are pretty forgiving as well. PB goes down here and stays down for quite some time. Now it looks like you can get them back up whenever, but this time, instead of Unity on our Omni tool, we have to physically walk up to them and hold Y to revive, which is a tad bit riskier. Now while this is going on, Drac goes crazy in the background and cleans up the rest of the baddies, and then we make our way to the end of the video. But that's about it, ladies and gents. Now, one quick thing I wanted to mention before we go was the use of the jetpack. Not only does all your non-biotic teammates use the jetpack, and I'm assuming biotic team members probably use biotic jump, but the agility is pretty impressive. You can boost vertically and then horizontally in one jump. I thought it was one boost even, and then that was it. But being able to do a double boost in air puts a ton of agility in our hands. Similar to kind of, Destiny's Titan jump with the chest speed called the Twilight Garrison. It puts a lot of evasive and exploratory maneuverability in your hands, which is also an awesome addition. But yeah, that's it guys. Not a ton of new things to look at and no new dialogue information unfortunately, but this is the longest uninterrupted amount of gameplay we have seen as of yet, so that is definitely exciting. Now there is only the remainder of this week and then all of next week before we see early access, and then the following week of course is launch week. So if there is a technical or beta on the horizon, it either has to be next week or at the same time as early access. Exciting times, guys. We are down to merely weeks before the many years of waiting are over, and I, for one, am ecstatic. But I'm out of here, initiates. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I could not do this without the support of all of you. So thank you guys very, very much. If you want to stay in the know about anything Mass Effect Andromeda, Destiny, The Division, or new uploads coming out of my channel, then hit me up on Twitter at SlyNation or on Facebook at SlyNation Gaming. I try to post there regularly, and it's the best place to stay up to date. Thanks again, Nation. Keep an eye out for more videos coming out of Sly Nation here very soon. But until then, this is your boy Sly, and I will catch you all next time.